Austin a good year for you last year? You were able to get to the end of it and finish the drill? How big was that for you, and how much did it help you going into the offseason?
Yeah, I took a lot of pride in the fact that I was able to take the ball every 5 days last year. I think that's the number one job as a starter, is just to be available and post for the team. And, so I took a lot of pride in being able to do that and, trying to just repeat it again this year.
You're part of a rotation where if you look at the 5 guys right now that have pitched in the major leagues, some guys have accomplished some things. You've got Feltner, who's developing. How good a rotation can this be if you guys stay healthy?
I think that's the key, like I said, is just being available. Getting some guys like, Hermannson's a back will be huge. Guys that, we've seen perform at the major league level, have success, be a part of playoff teams. So, I think getting those 2 guys back, it's like, adding 2 free agent pitchers, right? So that's nice. And then, like you said, Feltner continuing to take a step forward. I know we got some young guys coming in that they're really excited about, so it'll be good to see those guys get their feet wet and get opportunities. But, I think overall, this is probably the best depth we've had at the position since I've been here.
Some of the young guys, a couple of them told me they're already talking to you and asking you a lot of questions. Do you feel like you've noticed that maybe people are saying, hey, Austin, you've been around a while, and it's kind of like when you first came up and you had guys in St. Louis?
Yeah, it's funny how that quickly that thing changes. I feel like not too long ago I was the young player, but I definitely noticed. You look around the clubhouse, just I think there's only a handful of guys that have been here, the whole time I've been here. So you find yourself kind of transforming, from that being that young guy to being one of the more veteran guys in the clubhouse. So. Like you said, I came up with really good veteran guys that helped me a lot in St. Louis, taught me a lot. So it's just trying to share all the stuff that I've learned with the young guys. I think they all know if they have questions, I'm here to help them. I think that's part of my job is pitching for the Rockies, but is also, chaperoning, quote unquote, the young guys into the major leagues so that they can have success and, continue to try to push the organization forward.
You had some outstanding stretches for this club last year. What was it that you felt you did going into the last season that carried you through, and what are you repeating this year?
Well, like we talked about, the number one thing was just being able to pitch all year, right? I think that's the biggest thing. That was my goal going into the year. Last year I had years where I'd got to, 130, 140 innings, but never had quite gotten, all the way through. So that was the number one goal, was able to do that. But I think pitching-wise, it's just becoming more comfortable, more confident with myself. I've got more experience now, so understanding what works, understanding like who you are, not trying to do too much, kind of just understanding the situations of the game. I think it's a lot of stuff that just comes with experience, comes with being out there, comes with pitching in certain moments in certain places, and getting that experience, whether it's good or bad, and taking that and continuing to learn from it. And I think that's kind of our value, and my value to the young guys is just kind of, as a guy that's been there, done that. I've done everything in the big leagues. I've pitched out of the bullpen. I've been a short guy, throwing leverage innings at the back of the bullpen. I've been a long guy. I've been a starter. So pretty much anything you can do as a pitcher in the major leagues, I've done it. So I just think it's kind of, a ton of value and a ton of experience that I've gained, and it's just allowed me to kind of be able to navigate, and understand, what's the avenue for my success.
How big is it to turn things around like right now this year, and especially for you guys on the pitching staff where you are in your contracts and your service time and everything else? I mean, does it feel like, hey, this is a year that we really need to move forward for the team and for ourselves?
Yeah, obviously we haven't been as good as we want to be the past few years, and really since I've been here, right? So, for me individually, not knowing what the future holds, not knowing how long I'm going to have the opportunity to be a Rocky, it's important to me to try to be a part of a winning team here, or add value to that any way I can, whether this is obviously we come in, we think we're talented, we think we got some guys back, our pitching should be better, our bullpen's young, we got a lot of young position players, guys that took steps forward, so I think there's paths for us to compete this year, absolutely. But if we can't compete this year, I still would like to be able to contribute to winning for the Rockies somehow. And maybe that wasn't on the field as a player here, but maybe it's, chaperoning guys like Chase Dolander and Palmquist and the other young pitchers and to helping them have success, but just finding a way to contribute something to winning in the Colorado Rockies organization while I'm here is important to me.
One more from me. Last year, I think we talked, you had gone into the lab, kind of learned some things about yourself. What were the things that you learned about yourself, your motion, and everything else that carried you through the year?
I think understanding the body, I think for me it was big, just the stuff in between starts, the way I run, the way I lift, the stuff that we do in the training room, understanding, just finding ways to make sure the back stayed good. And then on that, it's just trying to add shoulder strength, keep the shoulder healthy. It just, like I said, experience, I think going through it, being able to go through a whole year now, I understand kind of what it feels like, the peaks and valleys, what it's going to take, and kind of the process that works for me, right? I did, laid a foundation last year, got through the season, and then just trying to tweak some stuff to, be even stronger this year. But just the ability that I've done it now and the confidence that I've done it, and I think it's huge.
Let me follow up on that. I know that keeping your motion consistent when you're throwing the ball seems to keep you healthier. What specifically did you find that maybe got you through the year last year, that when you ran into some spots where I'm a little bit sore, but you knew what didn't work in the past and did right?
I think a lot of it, like I said, was in between stuff. So tweaking stuff in the weight room, tweaking the way I run, the amount of running, learning more about course field, going through there again. And then also probably just not trying to do too much. I think just being more comfortable, not really overthrowing. I think it's hard. You try to tell young guys to just trust their stuff and be comfortable, but I think the only way you can trust it is, to go through it and have the experience that with some success that, hey, my stuff plays here, I can do this. And I felt like last year, going into the year, I kind of just had more of a track record and more of a base to fall back on, so I never really felt like I needed to try to do too much. And I think that physically I benefited from that over the course of 6 months, right, of understanding like, hey, I don't have to do every single pitch 100%. Understanding times of the game, situations, hitters, and just was kind of able to, quote unquote, pitch more.
I promise I'll let you go after this one, but you seem to find some different things you could do on the road as opposed to at home. Experience taught you that. How are you able to adjust? Hey, I'm on the road now. This will work for me. I go back home. I have to switch this, flip this switch.
Yeah, I just, like you said, just going there, going to places like San Francisco, San Diego, going to the East Coast, and kind of getting your butt kicked, and then having times where you have success and kind of looking at it and understanding. I think I've understood more as I've been here that you kind of do have to be two different pitchers, at least as a starter, right? Because I'm trying to throw 6-7 innings. I'm trying to go through a lineup multiple times. So game plan wise, there's just different ways that you're going to have to attack. I think I've gotten better at that over the years of understanding, kind of my recipe for success at altitude versus on the road. I think at first, when I first got here, I tried to just keep it simple and just be the same guy all the time. And, that's great. But I do think with experience, I've learned that you got to make adjustments. You got to be able to adapt. And I think as time has gone by, I've figured out ways to kind of, separate the two and almost be two different pitchers. And that's a learning process, right? Still going through it, still trying to make adjustments. So, every day that passes with the experience, I feel like you just gain more.